Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when we're faced with the undeniable reality of aging. The body begins to show signs of wear, and with it, a certain pattern emerges. Some people at this stage begin to give in to the mindset that they're no longer capable of growth, that their time is past, and that the physical and mental deterioration is inevitable simply because they've reached a certain age. But let me tell you this, that is a mistake. You must understand something fundamental: your capacity to influence your life, to shape your experience, to continue striving for improvement. It doesn't diminish just because your hair turns gray or your skin wrinkles. No, the way you carry yourself, the choices you make day after day will determine whether you stay vital or wither away. The senior smell, as it's sometimes called, is not inherent inevitability. It is in part a reflection of neglect, a consequence of the failure to maintain one's standards, to hold yourself to a certain level of care and discipline, and even as you grow older. Let's consider the matter seriously. The body, yes, begins to age, but it does not decay because of age alone. It decays because we abandon it. We stop working out, we stop eating well, we stop caring for our physical environment. And perhaps most destructively, we stop caring for our minds. The mind, my friends, is just as susceptible to entropy as the body. When we stop thinking, when we stop questioning and challenging ourselves, we become stagnant. And what do you think that brings? It brings that sense of staleness, that feeling that life is slipping away from us, that we're no longer a participant but a spectator. And that is the real danger of aging. Not the physical decline alone, but the psychological decline, the resignation that we've passed our prime, that life is no longer ours to shape. But there's hope and there's power in understanding this. You don't have to resign yourself to that fate. You can fight back. You can refuse to be defined by your age. You can hold yourself to the same standards of excellence, the same expectations for growth that you did in your youth. You can exercise discipline in all things, in what you eat, in how you move, in what you think. There is no reason to stop striving. In fact, I would argue that in some ways the opportunity for growth is even greater in old age, because with experience comes wisdom. With the accumulation of years comes perspective. You've seen more, you know more, and that gives you the tools to confront the challenges of life with even greater efficacy. Don't let the world's expectations of you based on your age dictate how you live your life. The senior smell is merely a symbol, a sign of giving up, a signal that you've stopped striving for something better. But if you continue to care, continue to move forward, continue to engage with the world around you, you will find that there is no expiration date on the pursuit of excellence. The key to avoiding the inevitable slide into irrelevance is simple: keep going. Keep improving. Keep challenging yourself, and above all, keep your mind sharp. The senior smell is not inevitable, it's a byproduct of neglect. Don't neglect yourself. Don't neglect your future. As we age, it's easy to adopt the belief that the inevitable course of life is to gradually decline physically and mentally. This notion, deeply ingrained in many minds, often stems from societal expectations or the observable changes that come with aging. We see people around us begin to slow down, perhaps becoming less active, less curious, and even less engaged with the world. It can be tempting to assume that this is just the way it goes, that the years are meant to wear us down, and that there's no real chance for continued growth once we hit a certain age. But this fundamentally is wrong. You must understand that aging itself is not synonymous with decline. There is no inherent law of nature that states that once you reach a certain age, you must stop growing, stop learning, or stop striving for more. In fact, in many ways, the capacity for growth can actually increase with age. The brain's ability to adapt to learn and to improve doesn't disappear simply because we get older. We are not simply the sum of our physical age. We are the product of our actions, our mindset, and our willpower. You may find that as you age, your body doesn't respond in the same way it did when you were younger. You might not have the same energy, strength, or agility as you once did, but the body is just a vehicle. It is not the entire person. And even if your physical capabilities change, that doesn't mean that you have to stop growing. In fact, this shift in the body offers a unique opportunity for transformation. It forces you to reevaluate how you approach your physical and mental health. It challenges you to find new ways to stay active, to stay sharp, and to continue contributing to the world in a meaningful way. Take, for example, the way older individuals can engage in learning. As we age, we accumulate an experience that provides a broader framework for understanding the world. The wisdom we gain from living through different circumstances and challenges can actually make us better at learning new things. Older individuals often bring a depth of understanding to new concepts because they have a wealth of experiences to draw from. This doesn't mean it's always easy. or that learning doesn't require effort, but it does mean that the capacity to grow intellectually is always available to you. The concept of lifelong learning should not be a distant ideal, but a reality regardless of your age. Furthermore, the idea that aging limits your ability to grow spiritually or emotionally is also flawed. As you age, you might find yourself more attuned to the deeper questions of life: what truly matters, what values you want to pass on, how you want to contribute to the world around you. This emotional growth is just as important as any intellectual pursuit. The older you get, the more experience you have in navigating life's challenges, and with that comes an opportunity to refine your emotional intelligence, your empathy, and your capacity for understanding others. This is growth that transcends the physical and taps into something deeper, something more enduring. Now, some might argue that it becomes harder to maintain the same level of energy or engagement as when they were younger, and this is undoubtedly true to an extent. But let's not confuse a reduction in physical capacity with a reduction in potential. Just because you can't run a marathon anymore doesn't mean you can't engage in physical activity that promotes health and longevity. You can take up walking, yoga, swimming, or any number of exercises that keep the body active while also being gentler on the joints and muscles. And the same applies to mental and emotional growth. You may not be able to take on the same kinds of challenges you did in your youth, but that doesn't mean you can't find new, fulfilling challenges that match your current state of life. The key here is to reject the notion that aging means the end of growth. Rather, embrace the idea that aging offers a new opportunity for growth, one that's more deliberate, more mindful, and perhaps even more profound. Just because the years accumulate doesn't mean your potential does not. Each stage of life provides a different set of challenges, but with each challenge comes the potential for a new level of mastery, understanding, and achievement. So don't fall into the trap of thinking that you've reached your limit because of your age. You have just as much potential to grow today as you did in your youth, perhaps even more. When we talk about neglect, we are not just referring to physical neglect, but also to emotional, mental, and spiritual neglect. The senior smell, often used symbolically to describe the slow, quiet decay that can accompany aging, is not merely a consequence of physical aging, it is a reflection of an overall lack of care and attention to oneself over time. As people get older, they sometimes fall into patterns where they no longer see themselves as capable of improvement, growth, or maintaining high standards. This neglect, whether intentional or unintentional, leads to a loss of vitality. The danger is that neglect begins subtly, often with small actions or decisions that go unnoticed, but over time this neglect can compound into a serious issue. You see, neglecting one's health and well-being doesn't happen overnight. It often starts with minor decisions, skipping exercise for a few days, ignoring the importance of a balanced diet, or perhaps avoiding mental stimulation. It might seem harmless in the moment, but over time, these small decisions build up. The body, if not regularly exercised or nourished, will start to show signs of wear. Your energy will wane and physical decline will begin to take hold. The mind, too, is susceptible to neglect. Without engaging with new ideas, challenging yourself to think critically, and maintaining curiosity, the mental faculties can deteriorate just as much as the body. The more you neglect your mind, the more it begins to slip away from you. This mental stagnation is just as harmful as physical decline, and it can create a sense of apathy or resignation. Moreover, neglect often leads to a loss of purpose. As people age, they sometimes feel that their role in life has diminished. They may no longer be working, raising children, or pursuing ambitious goals. Without a sense of purpose, people can easily fall into a routine that involves little more than existing day by day. They might find themselves disconnected from their community, family, or interests. This emotional and psychological neglect can lead to feelings of loneliness, isolation, and even depression. When you stop caring about your life, your health, your relationships, your mental growth, you stop engaging with the world around you. And it's this disengagement that ultimately leads to that senior smell. It is not just the physical state of your body that suffers, but your very connection to life itself. However, the reverse is equally true. When you maintain care for yourself, when you continue to engage with the world, both physically and mentally, you are able to preserve your vitality. If you maintain a routine of exercise, continue to challenge your mind with learning or problem solving, and stay connected with others, you will not only slow down the effects of aging, but actively reverse the signs of neglect. It's about fostering discipline and intentional commitment to care for your body and mind. Even simple acts like stretching, walking, eating nutrient-rich foods, and keeping up with hobbies or intellectual pursuits can keep you vibrant and engaged. By doing so, you will also avoid the psychological trap of feeling like you're past your prime or that there's no point in improving anymore. The more effort you put into sustaining your physical and mental health, the more you stave off the sense of decline that aging brings. You become an active participant in your own aging process. When you care for yourself, you stop being a passive victim of time and instead take control of your own destiny. It's in the small, everyday decisions, the choice to go for a walk, to read a new book, to maintain relationships that we actively combat neglect. By making these choices, you can maintain your sense of purpose and vitality. The senior smell only exists when you allow neglect to take root, when you stop caring about yourself and the world around you. The message is simple. You must maintain the standards of care and discipline throughout your life, regardless of age. Neglecting yourself is the real cause of physical and mental decline, not the mere passage of time. If you're willing to engage with life, to continue challenging yourself, and to maintain care for your body and mind, you will avoid the decay that so many associate with old age. The more you engage, the more you give, the more you will find that the process of aging can be one of growth, not deterioration. Discipline is one of the cornerstones of a meaningful and productive life. It's easy to imagine that. As we grow older, the need for discipline somehow diminishes, that we've put in our time and now deserve the right to relax, to stop striving. But this is a mistake. The truth is, discipline is just as important, if not more so, as we age. Discipline is not simply about following rules or adhering to a rigid schedule. It's about maintaining a sense of order and purpose in your life, something that keeps you grounded and engaged in the world around you. When we age, the natural tendency is to slow down. The energy we had in our youth starts to dwindle, and our priorities might shift. The body doesn't recover as quickly, and the daily demands of life might feel more overwhelming. However, this should not be an excuse to abandon discipline. Quite the opposite, this is precisely when discipline becomes even more critical. As you get older, the stakes of neglecting your well-being grow significantly. The body, if not maintained through consistent physical activity, can decline rapidly. Similarly, the mind, left without stimulation, can become dull, disengaged, and lethargic. The absence of discipline then leads directly to decline. Maintaining discipline doesn't mean that you have to adhere to the same rigid routines you did when you were younger. It's about finding what works for you at each stage of life and holding yourself to it. For example, where once you might have been able to run 5 miles a day, you might now find it more practical to engage in a daily walk or swim. The key is to maintain consistency, to keep moving, to avoid allowing the body to stagnate. Exercise in old age can be as simple as stretching every morning or taking the stairs instead of the elevator. These small acts of discipline over time accumulate and keep the body in motion, preventing the creeping effects of inactivity. You don't need to be at the peak of physical performance, but you do need to care enough to move, to engage, and to maintain the basic standards of physical health. But discipline isn't just about physical activity. It extends to how you engage with the world intellectually and emotionally. One of the great dangers of aging is that it's easy to give up on learning. We might convince ourselves that we've seen it all, that there's no point in challenging our minds anymore. This too is a failure of discipline. The mind requires continuous engagement to remain sharp. Reading regularly, solving puzzles, learning new skills, and even maintaining engaging conversations, these are all ways to keep the mind disciplined. Intellectual discipline is about actively seeking new knowledge, not waiting for it to come to you. It's about not allowing yourself to fall into complacency. You don't have to be mastering complex theories or learning foreign languages, but consistently engaging with new ideas and challenging your mind will keep you mentally agile and prevent the slow mental decline that can accompany neglect. Emotionally, discipline is just as important. As we age, we may find it tempting to withdraw from relationships or to stop being vulnerable to others. We might feel that we don't have the emotional energy to continue investing in friendships, family, or community. But this emotional disengagement, much like physical or intellectual neglect, leads to stagnation and isolation. It's crucial to maintain the discipline of emotional connection. This means continuing to nurture relationships, opening yourself to new people, and actively participating in social life. It's about not allowing your emotional world to become stagnant, not allowing your circle to shrink, and not giving up on the simple acts of kindness, gratitude, and empathy that make life rich and meaningful. The importance of discipline in old age is that it prevents you from becoming passive, from falling into the trap of thinking that life is no longer worth engaging with. When you stop caring for yourself in all these areas physically, intellectually, and emotionally, you lose the essence of what it means to live a fulfilling life. Discipline, in its most fundamental form, is the act of continually striving to improve, to engage, and to challenge yourself no matter what stage of life you're in. It creates momentum that sustains you. Without it, you risk falling into the trap of resignation, of allowing the passage of time to dictate your actions and your experience. But with it, you take control. You remain a participant in your own life, not a passive observer. And in doing so, you open up a world of possibilities no matter your age. Discipline, in this sense, is not merely about following rules, it's about creating a life worth living. With age comes experience, and with experience comes wisdom. But wisdom is not just the result of accumulating years, it's the result of reflecting on those years, learning from them, and using that knowledge to navigate life with greater insight. As we age, we tend to accumulate a rich tapestry of experiences, both good and bad, that shape who we are. The key, however, is in how we process and apply those experiences. Wisdom is not automatic, nor is it guaranteed by age alone. It is something that requires engagement, introspection, and the willingness to use past lessons to inform future decisions. One of the greatest advantages of age is the ability to see the bigger picture, to understand the context of life's challenges and opportunities. When we are younger, we may approach life with a sense of urgency, focusing on immediate rewards and quick fixes. But as we age, we begin to see that life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. The mistakes we make early in life may sting, but as we accumulate experience, we begin to understand that those mistakes are not the end of the world, they are, in fact, the stepping stones to deeper understanding. The older you get, the more you realize that life is about long-term vision, not short-term gratification. The wisdom that comes with age helps you see the consequences of your actions more clearly and guides you in making decisions that align with your values and goals. Moreover, as you grow older, you have the opportunity to understand yourself better. The self-reflection that comes with age is invaluable because it allows you to examine your past choices, your successes, your failures, and your regrets with greater clarity. You start to develop a deeper understanding of your own motivations and desires. This self-awareness can help you make better decisions in the future because you have learned from your past and you no longer make the same mistakes. This is one of the great gifts of growing older, the ability to know yourself better and to trust your own judgment. Experience also brings with it a greater sense of emotional resilience. As we age, we encounter more losses, whether they be the loss of loved ones, the loss of opportunities, or even the physical limitations that come with aging. But each of these losses offers an opportunity to grow emotionally stronger. As you face challenges over time, you develop a kind of emotional toughness, a capacity to handle life's inevitable difficulties with grace and composure. This resilience, born from experience, enables you to approach life's problems with a sense of perspective. You understand that hardship is not permanent, it is temporary, and it can be survived. This wisdom allows you to navigate life's emotional ups and downs without being overwhelmed by them. Another benefit of experience is the ability to see patterns and make connections that you might not have noticed earlier in life. As you age, you begin to recognize the recurring themes in your life, both positive and negative, and you start to understand why certain things happen. This ability to recognize patterns allows you to make more informed choices. You can anticipate certain outcomes based on past experiences and avoid pitfalls that others may fall into. You begin to see life through a more nuanced lens, one that is shaped by years of observation and reflection. But wisdom is not just about looking back, it is about looking forward too. As you grow older, you can use your accumulated wisdom to shape your future. You can pass on the lessons you've learned to younger generations, helping them avoid the mistakes you made and encouraging them to build on the knowledge you've acquired. This sense of legacy becomes an essential part of the aging process. You realize that your wisdom is not just for your own benefit, it is also a gift to those who come after you. You can help guide others, whether it's through a mentorship or simply by being a living example of the power of growth and resilience. The wisdom gained with age is not something to be underestimated. It is a powerful tool that can shape your life in profound ways. It allows you to approach life's challenges with a deeper understanding, to make better decisions, and to live with greater purpose. Wisdom is the gift that keeps on giving. It is a form of growth that is unique to the older years, and it should be embraced as one of the most valuable assets you possess. The experiences of your life have shaped you into someone who can see the world more clearly, who understands the complexities of life, and who can use that understanding to navigate the future with confidence. The idea of striving for excellence is not bound by age. It is a continuous, lifelong pursuit. In fact, one could argue that the later stages of life offer a unique opportunity to engage in this pursuit more deeply, with more wisdom and focus. Yet, as we age, it becomes all too easy to let go of the pursuit of excellence. We may tell ourselves that we've already achieved everything we were meant to, that we no longer need to aim for anything greater. This mindset, however, is not only limiting but also dangerous. To stop striving for excellence is to cease living fully. It is to accept stagnation as an inevitable fate. Excellence is not about perfection. It is about continually striving to improve, to do better, to push the boundaries of what we can achieve. It's about holding ourselves to high standards even when others might expect less of us. Excellence requires effort, discipline, and a willingness to face challenges head-on, regardless of age. It is easy to see the physical signs of aging and conclude that excellence is no longer attainable, that we should let go of the high standards we once set for ourselves. However, excellence is not solely dependent on youthful energy or physical prowess. It can be redefined at any stage of life. The pursuit of excellence in older age is an opportunity to focus on the things that truly matter, to refine the skills and knowledge that align with our passions and purpose. It's about embracing what you can do now, not lamenting what you can no longer do. For example, if physical activity is no longer your strength, perhaps you can pursue excellence in other ways through intellectual engagement, creativity, or teaching the next generation. Excellence is not confined to a particular realm. It extends to how you carry yourself, how you engage with the world, and how you contribute to your community. In older age, we have the benefit of perspective. We can look back on our lives and see where we excelled, where we fell short, and where we could have done better. This reflection is invaluable because it allows us to learn from our past while moving forward. The wisdom accumulated over a lifetime can become the foundation upon which we build new goals and set new standards of excellence. What may have seemed like obstacles in our younger years might now be seen as stepping stones to personal growth. The experiences, successes, and failures of the past can be used as fuel to propel us into the future as long as we remain open to learning and growth. The key to continuing the pursuit of excellence in older age is to cultivate a mindset of continual improvement. This means refusing to settle for mediocrity, even when the world around us may be content to do so. It means seeking opportunities to learn, grow, and evolve no matter what your age. Whether you take up a new hobby, start a new business venture, or engage in volunteer work, striving for excellence is about showing up with your best effort no matter what. It is about setting goals, working towards them, and holding yourself accountable. Excellence is not something that can be achieved passively. It requires active participation in your own life. Furthermore, the pursuit of excellence in older age is an opportunity to lead by example. The older generations have a unique chance to inspire those who are younger, to show them that excellence does not end with youth. By continuing to push ourselves, by setting high standards and striving for them, we demonstrate to others that age is no barrier to achievement. This is crucial as it challenges societal stereotypes about aging, proving that one can continue to grow, develop, and achieve greatness at any stage of life. In fact, older individuals often have more resources at their disposal than younger people. They have a wealth of knowledge, experience, and understanding that can be applied in ways that are more impactful than in their younger years. The pursuit of excellence then is not just about personal satisfaction. It's about contributing to the world in meaningful ways, sharing what you've learned, and passing on the wisdom and knowledge you've gained. Excellence at this stage of life becomes a legacy a testament to the power of ongoing growth and the importance of never giving up. The act of striving for excellence is inherently fulfilling. It brings a sense of purpose, a sense of accomplishment, and an enduring sense of self-worth. It is a declaration to the world and to yourself that you are not defined by your age, but by your actions, your commitment to growth, and your refusal to settle. Excellence is not a destination, but a journey, one that continues as long as you are willing to invest in it. When you strive for excellence, you reaffirm your place in the world, and you prove that you are still an active participant in life capable of achieving remarkable things. In the end, aging does not have to mean the end of vitality, growth, or purpose. It is merely another phase of life, a phase that can be rich with opportunity if you choose to embrace it fully. Through discipline, care, and a refusal to settle for mediocrity, you can continue to evolve physically, mentally, and emotionally. Your wisdom and experience are invaluable assets that can drive further growth, inspire others, and shape a meaningful legacy. The pursuit of excellence doesn't stop as the years accumulate, it only evolves, becoming a deeper, more refined version of the journey you started long ago. Age should never be an excuse to stop striving for better, for more, for greatness in all its forms. So take responsibility for your life, maintain your standards, and keep moving forward with purpose, passion, and an unyielding desire to grow. Life doesn't stop, and neither should you.